Hey y'all, it's Jasmine J back with another episode of CCGO for Small Business Highlights. So today I have Kevin Rutland with me. We went to school together, Kevin, so I know you, but if you can introduce yourself to the people and what it is that you do.
Yeah, hello all. Kevin Rutland. I've been knowing Jazz since probably sometime in elementary school.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But I am husband, father of two, retired NFL player, current franchise partner with Chick-fil-A, and also trying to break into your space, the creative space, and have a podcast called True Sons Podcast, which aired last Friday.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations on that. That's amazing. So let's go backwards because you do a lot, right? So tell me about your journey to the NFL.
Yeah, my journey is probably not like most people who aspire to even play at that level.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really like the game as much as most people do. And it's kind of crazy to say, oh man, I made it to the NFL and never really truly enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
Not until I was probably 21 years old, and that range is my senior year. So I went to University of Missouri, and that's kind of, you talk about grateful for that university because so many things came of it. Met my wife there. Some of my best friends that I could possibly imagine came from that school, and some people who inspired me to even try to make it to the NFL.
Yeah. So wait, let's pause. So so going to Missouri, how was it making that decision? Coming from Texas, then you saying, okay, you're going to play in Missouri. So what was that like?
So I but most people don't know, I played quarterback in high school. But no school wanted me to play quarterback at their university. And not that I wasn't good enough to play quarterback at the next level.
Yeah.
But it came down to the University of Missouri and Colorado. And Colorado wanted me to the only school that said, hey, if you come play with us, you can still play on offense. So I'm like, oh, really? I can still, carry the ball a little bit?
Yeah.
And literally a week before my visit to go to see Colorado, they fired their entire coaching staff. So
it was meant. It was meant for you to go.
Yeah, I had other schools that I was talking to, but nothing as serious as Mizzou.
Yeah.
And that's how I chose Mizzou. I went on my visit December 13th. Must have been 2005.
Yeah.
Came home on the 15th and committed on the 16th.
Oh, wow. So was your family supportive of that, or how did they feel about you going away?
Oh man, they were fine with it. My brother and sister went away.
Yeah.
Now me choosing Missouri that quickly, they were like, you sure? Because, you get 5 visits to make a decision.
Yeah.
And I took one to Missouri and was like, that's where I'm going.
Okay. So then you get there, you meet some of your best friends, you meet your wife. So tell us about that.
Which one? The friends or the wife first?
The wife. The wife, of course.
Yeah. So she's actually a year younger than me in school.
Okay.
She's the brainiac, so she actually skipped, I think, the 6th grade. So she's 2 years younger than me, but I was a sophomore. She was a freshman when we first met.
Okay.
And a funny story, we met because I had a friend that knew one of her friends from high school, both from Dallas.
Okay.
And he called one day. Me and another one of my good friends are out playing ping pong at the rec center. And he was like, hey, come by, man. I got 2 girls in the house. I'm like, all right, yeah, let's go. Cool.
I'm coming.
On the way. And then come back and she's one of them, right? And we actually don't like each other at the start of it. Didn't really speak. I mean, we said, hi, I'm Kevin. Hey, I'm Sid. That was about it. We never talked, but one of her best friends started dating one of my teammates in college. And they had a rule, they had a buddy system. When one person went home, the whole group had to go home.
Yeah. So
her good friends coming to our house and kicking it with one of my best friends. And basically he tired of him having to go home because my wife, at the time I didn't know, she kept wanting to go home.
Right.
So they actually convinced us. My good friend told me that she liked me. Her good friend told her that I liked her, but we actually hadn't really even spoken. Had no interest. And then when somebody says, hey, they like you, that person becomes a little cuter to you.
You're like, okay.
And that's how we started, man. Her good friend and my friend stopped dating probably 2 weeks later.
Wow.
And we ended up getting married. So
that's amazing. I love that love story for sure. So then you start playing on the team. What was that like?
So I struggled early on at Mizzou. And like I said, I didn't really love football. And that's when it really started showing. So in high school, I was always the person who was very respectful to all my coaches. If you say go right, I'm going to go right.
Yeah.
If you say jump, I'll say how high. But at Mizzou, it wasn't that. You get the freedom to make your own decisions. You're in college. You're not at home.
Yeah.
They're not calling your mom and telling you, telling them, like, hey, your son's up here going crazy.
Right.
If you just doing what you want to do, nobody's going to hold you accountable but yourself. So my first 3 years at Mizzou, I wasn't playing. I'm just kind of like riding the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm the guy that if we lose a game, I'm still going out. Like that was me. I wasn't the team player.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like my junior year, one of my best friends actually left school early and went to the NFL, was drafted like number 19 overall pick.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then the following year, 2 of my friends left and they went to NFL as well.
Yeah.
We roommates in college. I'm like, yo, hold on. I can't.
Wait a minute. They're not going to leave me behind.
Right, he can't leave me. So that's when I started taking football serious. And like my junior and senior year, I kind of put my all into it and was able to find success. I even became a team captain. And my head coach at the time would always joke. And he was like, if you would have told me that this dude coming in here would have been a team captain, I'd have laughed in your face.
Yeah.
Because that's not who I wasn't trying to be that for the team. And it became that to be something where I enjoyed it. Like I relished the moment to even lead my teammates. Yeah.
So was there a particular time or a particular game or a particular, memory that you had where it was like, okay, I'm tapping in, I'm going all the way in? Or was it your friends going to the NFL?
So it was a lot had to do with them going to the NFL. But I had a meeting with my coach going into my junior year, not my head coach, like my position coach. I played cornerback. And he said, hey, look, it's your junior year. You've been here because I redshirted. So I've been there going on 4 years.
Okay.
And he was like, it's now or never. If you don't get it together now, it's going to be somebody else.
He had that transparent conversation
He did.
with you.
And I appreciate him. Coach Ford, to this day, I appreciate him because even though I wasn't given the effort that I should have been given, he never gave up on me.
Mm-hmm.
That entire staff, which is kind of different than what you're seeing now in college football, where if I don't like what's going on, I just leave.
Yeah.
But back then you had to stick it out. And he never gave up. That coach staff never gave up and just said, hey, look, this is now or never.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a turning point for me to put forth the effort that I probably should have been given the last 3 years there.
When you first got there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So your friends or your teammates that you connected with while you were down there, did they ever encourage you? Did they ever was like, hey, bro, you got to get your stuff together?
At times they would make subtle hints like, yo, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But we were so cool. We were very, very close. So they could have said it and I never would have taken it disrespectfully.
Yeah.
But I guess they kind of took it easy on me, but they would make comments like, yo, you just don't care, do you? And it would be like, oh, yeah, I kind of care. But it kept happening. Another one would say, yo, come on, Ray, where you at?
Yeah.
All right. So it's over time, I said, all right, I'll listen to y'all and give it a shot.
Okay. So then you do that, then fast forward, what happens? How do you end up leaving the NFL?
Leaving the NFL.
Or how did you exit? Or
Yeah. So what I tell a lot of people who aren't...
Oh, wait. We skipped the whole part. We was in college. How did we get to the NFL?
Yeah. So you get to my senior season, which I would consider probably my best season.
Mm-hmm.
All my closest friends are already gone. They're in the NFL already. So I'm watching them on Sundays and I'm still playing on Saturday, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I had something to aspire to. I'm watching some of my best friends play the game at the highest level.
Were you able to go to their games or anything like that?
Not while I was in college.
Okay.
So no, I just had to watch on TV like everybody else did. But my senior year, I started having some success. I'm playing a lot better than I'd ever played. In different roles in the defense being used differently. And kind of found a joy in having success.
Yeah.
Whereas it's back in the day, I'd have success and not really care about it. But then I'm actually a little bit proud to be a part of this team, to make certain plays. And, you kind of start hearing things. When you start playing, I was in the Big 12 and most of the big conferences, if you're playing well in that conference, you start hearing he has a shot to go to the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
They can play at the next level.
The buzz.
You start hearing the buzz.
Yeah.
And that started happening. You start seeing scouts at games and things like that. And you're like, now granted, it's a big team, so they're not there just for you. Right. But you realize that you're a little bit closer to a goal that not a lot of people can say they've done.
Yeah.
So senior year happens. I finish my senior year. We played Iowa in Arizona. I probably had one of my best games of the year. And then the phone kind of starts ringing. Mm-hmm. Different agents reaching out saying, hey, we want to work with you and whatnot. And I'm like, me? You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's when it becomes a little more real. And then you choose an agent. And then the same coach that told me, hey, this is now or never, he gives me a call like January. I'm already done playing. He says, hey, you've been invited to the NFL Combine. So now I got to go somewhere and train, right? So that's kind of how it all started.
So what was that moment like when you got that call and they told you were invited? Were you excited? Were you scared? Were you anxious? Or was it just like, all right, it's go time for real, for real?
So I would say I was excited and a little bit anxious because my 3 best friends had all done this. They all had gotten that same invite call and they'd all gone to the combine. And I was wondering, man, is that going to happen for me?
Yeah.
And it did. So I will admit, I don't get excited very often, but I was excited for that call because that's one thing that I kind of wanted.
Yeah.
After finishing that season.
Mm-hmm.
And to find out it was happening, I was like over the moon. I remember sitting at my parents' house because when you finish like your last game of the season, it's also during a break. So it's like Christmas break. So I'm at home.
Yeah.
But I already graduated, so I'm not going back up there.
Yeah.
And I remember going downstairs and like, hey, I just got an invite to the combine. And my parents being excited about it and calling my brother and like sister and like, hey, this is happening. They're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Look, Kevin's about to go to the combine. This is something you watch on TV. So yeah, super excited to get that invite. But now, I mean, you get 2 days to be excited. Now you got to fly out to Florida where I went.
And go put in the work.
And train for the next 2 months before it comes.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then what team did you play for in the NFL?
Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. But the most of my time was spent with Jacksonville.
And the position cornerback?
Corner still play corner. Still actually trying to learn the position because like in high school, I never played defense.
So did you like that position over quarterback or?
No.
Okay, not too much,
man.
huh?
Yeah. I wanted to have the ball in my hand.
Yeah.
So I mean things that are very natural, and I'm ashamed to say this for football players, learning how to tackle. I had to do that, and I'm learning that when I'm 20 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Most kids learn it when they probably 5 and 6.
Right.
You know what I mean?
League.
So I look kind of stupid at times, but I grew to love it because it was a way to compete, and the challenge was not just the person in front of me, but it's also learning how to do this position. So I was always challenged. I really enjoyed learning. And like my first year in Jacksonville is when I kind of fell in love with the nuances of football, sitting in the film room. So like the way I tell people all the time is if you go to college, you have a certain amount of the day that you attribute towards football, practice and film. That's kind of all it is. And you also have class and you have study hall. So you got a lot going on. But in the NFL, you take that entire day. If you wake up at, 6, and then you finish a day at 5. Now imagine doing that, but it's just football all day long.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy to think 11 hours of football in a day. But that's the part that I started to fall in love with first. Learning the game, hearing people who've played for a long time at a high level discuss football. Mm-hmm. Some people might look at me and be like, oh, I bet they just, dumb, or you hear these people talk about their craft.
Yes.
It's
mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. So I fell in love with just coming to the stadium or the facility that day because I knew I was going to learn something new.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about the transition out of the NFL. How did that all unfold?
Yeah. So I went to Kansas City in 2014 and actually I had an injury in Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. So I sit out for about 8-9 weeks in Jacksonville. And coming back from that injury, and I go to Kansas City. Mm-hmm. I'm not really the same player after the injury. So I finished my time in Kansas City, and then I decide, well, let me see if football is over for me.
Yeah.
And I go up to Canada. So I went and actually played in Toronto, Canada, for about 2 months. I just got engaged and about to be married at the time too. And that was kind of a way for me, like I've said before, to kind of write my own story.
Yeah,
because what people don't know is if you are playing in the NFL and they wonder, why'd you stop? If that's the question and you're not saying, I retired or I got hurt, the answer is the NFL is done with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Teams stop calling. That's how it goes. When you play for a team and then that team cuts you, you're waiting for somebody to call you and give you an opportunity.
Yeah.
If your phone's not ringing, that means it's about time to hang it up.
Yeah.
So I decided, well, since the NFL doesn't necessarily want me anymore, let me go to Canada. And then that would be my way of saying, I don't want football anymore.
Yeah.
So I went to Canada. Canada called and said, hey, come back. And I was able to say no.
Oh, wow.
That was
so you made that decision. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what is one key thing that you took away from the NFL? Like the biggest lesson?
Wow. It's not even, and it has nothing to do with football. I would just say I learned to relish and cherish the moments of anything that I do now.
Yeah.
Because it can be gone quickly.
Yeah.
And likely it's going to be gone before you're ready for it to be gone. And it's a little bit sad, but it changes the way you live, changes your perspective on just moments you have with people, even at work. Changes the way I treat those days because I know tomorrow it can be gone.
Yeah.
Because something was taken from me. And it seemed like in a day.
Yeah, and that you wasn't necessarily ready for.
Right.
Definitely. So now you leave the NFL, you get married, and then what happens from there?
I leave. I do get married. And I'm in the what do you do now phase, right? My wife and I moved to Dallas, and she was working, and I'm not. I'm not working out necessarily for football, but I'm working out to have something to do for a day.
Yes.
Right. And then we get pregnant. My wife gets pregnant with our oldest daughter. And now it's like the clock is starting.
Oh, yeah.
You got
responsibilities on another level.
You got about 7-8 months to figure something out.
To make something happen.
And I have that pressure. Hey, what's happening next? What's going on? Mm-hmm. So I go into coaching, the natural progression from playing to coaching. That's at least what I thought.
Yeah.
And I go into coaching at a small private school in Dallas. And I would say year 1, I may have enjoyed it. It's a lot of work, a lot of time. But by year 2, because you're also teaching, I taught a psychology class. My major was in psychology, so I taught a psych class at the school. In year 2, I'm like, I
don't know about this.
I don't know about this. And I had heard from a teacher once, they were like, if you are at year 2 and you're not sure about it, it's not for you.
It's probably not for you.
You should probably get out before you start doing a disservice to those kids.
To the people, yeah.
Right? And that's exactly what we did. When I was year 2, I finished up and I was like, yeah, it's
a wrap.
I can't come back to this, right? But at the same time, my wife is kind of getting a little antsy at her job. She's like, I don't know if I want to keep coming to American Airlines and doing this.
Yeah.
And we start thinking about entrepreneurship. And then we applied like you might go apply for any job online, which you express an interest, and that happened with Chick-fil-A. And then you got 2.5 years later where we are, she would leave American Airlines and go volunteer at the local Chick-fil-A in Dallas. And I had one, we made a relationship with the owner, and he would let me come to his store and just learn.
True. Y'all were manifesting everything. Like before you got, I love that.
That's my wife, man. That's who she is. I tell her all the time that dreams with her aren't really dreams. If she says something,
it's going to be a reality.
It's about to happen.
Yeah. Right? Shout out to your wife, because that's lovely.
So we started doing that while she is also going through the interview process, but she's the one that actually applied. So she's going through the interview process. We both trying to learn as much as we can about Chick-fil-A. Right around COVID, which is the same time she was also awarded the store inside the Galleria Mall. So they brought us from Dallas back to Houston.
Wow. Kevin, that is quite the journey for sure.
Yeah.
So do you think that your time in college and in the NFL kind of prepared you for where you are now as you and your wife with Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, I would say definitely. The idea of cultivating a team, I've been on teams since I was probably 6 years old.
Yes.
And then when you go to college, it gets a little bit more diverse. You go to the NFL, it gets even more diverse.
Yep.
Translate to Chick-fil-A, it's probably one of the most diverse settings I've ever been in. You mean team members from Guatemala, team members from New York.
Yeah.
It's a melting pot in that restaurant. And I think that's probably the greatest thing I've learned from my playing career to try to transition or translate to the restaurant industry is this. I have to be able to work with all types of people.
Yes.
And it's a level of grit to working in the restaurant. You got to be okay with getting dirty.
Yeah.
You got to be okay with frying chicken.
Yeah.
Frying fries.
Whatever it takes.
All that. So no matter what time I put away, we have a truck that we get all of our product, and that gets to our restaurant at like 4 a.m. I put that away. So that means I had to get up around 3 to get there, at 3:45. So hard work
for sure
is kind of like second nature.
Yeah.
And that's from playing football.
I think the same with me. I played basketball in school, but I never, I was pregnant my senior year. So that was it. That ended my basketball career early. But yeah, I did enjoy basketball. But like you, I always was a part of a team. Always a part of something with structure. So once I started working with my mom and I got into leadership, I really enjoyed it because I recognized anything we were able to accomplish over there it was a team that did it.
Yes.
It was the department. It was, you know, it was more than
it's
just
never one person.
It's never one person. So then when I got into entrepreneurship and starting to network and having this studio, my number one goal from day one was not to make money.
Yeah.
It was to build a team because I knew the industry I was getting in. I'm like, I'm smart. I can educate myself. I'll learn this industry. The money will come. Like I could put in place some things, the money will come, but I know I won't be able to get as far as I want to go by myself. So my number one priority from the gate was building a team. And I really enjoy that. And I feel like I learned a lot from being in sports. You know, coach, having your coach, your team players, the captain of the team, you know, everybody had their part.
Right. I think even with any kind of business endeavors that I'm looking into now, the first thing I think about is how can I build a team to do this? Where some might look at things and be like, well, if you build a team, that means you're making a little bit less money. And in some cases, that's right. But is it sustainable? Can you grow without having that team? And my answer would probably be no. And
then it's also, you know, what is your vision? Because you can get somewhere by yourself pretty fast, like you say. Like, you keep all the money to yourself. It's growing, but you're going to hit a ceiling.
Right.
And then when you hit that ceiling, then what? You're going to have to come all the way back down just to go back up with a team. It's just, So I think that's one thing. Just start off with a team.
Something
like,
that can
share, build a community, pour into the community.
Have somebody in mind that you're thinking about, if I start this, he's my CFO. He's my COO or whatever. That's how I think about all businesses now.
I do the same. So I love that. So having Chick-fil-A, right? What is that like? Like, I remember when I first saw it online. I actually remember when I first saw that you were going to the NFL, and I was like, for me, I just remember you being super fast. Like,
appreciate you.
Running. So I was like, wow, Kevin's going to NFL. I just thought that was amazing. And then when I saw you and your wife were doing Chick-fil-A, I just was like, this is really good, you know, just for our people, period. And then the class we graduated, it was a few people who left and went to the NFL and done things.
Which is wild.
So I used to brag about that. With because my ex-husband left and went to Yates. He was at North Shore all the time, but he graduated from Yates. And I would be like, class of Yates 2006, where they at?
Stop. You're not right.
That's funny. But I was just really, really proud of that. So now to see you and where you are today, like, what is that whole experience like?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Jazz. It's been awesome. It's been very rewarding. I know some people like to kind of dumb things down. That's not really my style. I'm not going to brag, but I'm also going to shed light of how enlightening it has been, how rewarding it has been on multiple levels. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie, it's been rewarding financially. But it's also been rewarding to meet the people I've met along in this journey. Even with Chick-fil-A, which is, in my opinion, the best kept secret as far as a company goes. It's first class.
It is.
It is just, and to my opinion, I'm biased.
Of course.
It's all work, right? But so I've been enjoying it. I purposefully enjoy it. Granted, sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes you're tired, and we all have those days. But I don't take it for granted. I'm super thankful that I'm even in this position.
So tell me what a day looks like for you.
In the restaurant.
Just period.
Okay. Well, when I'm not doing this, I'll take a restaurant day. So I drop off my kids and I get to the restaurant around 8:15.
Okay.
I like to have breakfast. I got to start.
You go back there and cook it yourself, or
no? I could. I don't do it, and that's only because we have some policies in place. So I don't want to encourage somebody else in our store to do that. So I don't do it, but I could. And then I go through about a list of emails for our store, and looking at the agenda for the day, and I'll try to get all that done before about 11 because 11 o'clock is our rush hour time.
Okay.
And I want to be present and ask for my wife. Any kind of meetings we have done, they're scheduled either before 11 or after 2 o'clock. Because you got to be
available for that rush hour.
Exactly.
For sure.
And you might catch me outside with an iPad taking orders. You might catch me in the kitchen building sandwiches or nuggets or whatever, strips, salads. Or you might see me front counter taking orders or helping out or cleaning up. And that's one thing people don't really realize about working in the restaurant industry. Even as the owners or co-owners, you're pretty involved in the day-to-day operation. Do we have to be? Not really.
Yeah.
But it's a fulfillment there.
Yeah.
And it's a way to connect with the team. And I can't connect with you if I'm not sure what you're going through every day.
You know, I'm really glad you mentioned that because a lot of people don't talk about that. And I'm the same way. I'm on the floor. Like, I definitely don't get behind the cameras because I've torn up a lot of equipment because that's not my thing.
Yeah,
but I get on the floor, you know, like I'll talk to the talent. Hey, y'all need water? I bring out snacks. I empty trash cans. I clean restrooms.
Yeah.
Whatever we need to do for the team to be successful, you know. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't talk about that. They just think that entrepreneurship or ownership or having your own company, being a CEO, that you just live in life.
And it's not the case.
It's not.
And even for the team, like my wife is reading a book. I'm not sure the name of the book, but a quote she actually gave me recently was, if you want the team members or your team to see what you care about, do it every day.
Yep.
So every day she gets to that store, like our schedule a little bit different, but when she comes to the store, she's going to walk around. She has a routine. You're going to see her outside walking around that entire building picking up trash.
Yep. Because
she wants the team to see this is it's one thing at least that I really, really care about.
Absolutely.
So when it's your turn, because everybody does it, take it as serious as the owner taking it. You know
Absolutely.
What I mean?
You know, I actually get joy sometimes. I come in the studio and I'll come late and they already taking care of stuff and I see them like somebody's getting the water, somebody's doing this, and I'm just like, this is amazing. But that's from being on the ground with them, you know, and like you say, connecting with your team because they're the ones that's going to have your back because you ain't going to be able to do everything.
And you can't be there at all times.
For sure.
You have children too. You know what I mean? You have a family. So, okay, I want to go spend time with this or that. And the business doesn't stop.
The business don't stop. That's what I've been telling them. My daughter is about to graduate from high school and go to college. And I'm like, May, June, July, August, maybe even September.
Yeah.
I won't be here.
Sorry.
I'm in and out, you know, but we've done so much together that they got it.
And now it's a reflection of you.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to build. Like one phrase I like to use with our team or with my wife when we're talking about our team is, I want the team to know my heart so they can make decisions as if it's me.
Yes.
Not necessarily the way I think. I need you to know how I feel because we're in the people business more than anything else.
Yeah.
Even when we first were awarded the opportunity to be within Chick-fil-A, someone in the program told us, hey, you were in the people business. You just happened to sell chicken.
Exactly. Oh, that's exactly.
Yeah.
I tell them all the time, I say, here at Community Cultivation, like we're about cultivating the community. We're about connecting small business owners and creators to their communities around the world. We just happen to do it through content and events.
Right. This is just our avenue.
Yeah.
So when we're not there, I'm making sure that my goal is to make sure that our leadership understands my decision making, not because it's how Kevin thinks or how Sid thinks. It's because this is what we believe in.
Right. This is our heart.
Right.
This is in our
heart. Our purpose is to change lives, and that's going to affect the decisions we make.
For sure.
Right. If our purpose is to show care for everybody I come in contact with, that affects the decisions we make.
I love that.
So I'm not going to go treating somebody who messes up just any kind of way because that's not what my heart desires.
Exactly. And then you have to pour into the lid. But I'm not going to turn this into a leadership podcast because we can get there. Yeah. So you're doing that, and now you say you're stepping off into this space of creativity and creatives and podcasting and stuff like that. So take me through that journey.
So those same friends that were so influential to me that I met in college, we are together now trying to break into this space. We have a podcast that we just released called True Sons Podcast. And the meaning of that, it's even a Missouri kind of thing.
Because I definitely was going to ask.
Okay, I'm glad you asked. So a true son, that way Mizzou would kind of call it, is anyone who has gone to the University of Missouri, probably played a sport, and then comes back and they support and they
pour back into
the community and try to help everything that's Mizzou.
Yeah.
And we consider ourselves that. Now. You have to go to the University of Missouri to understand that phrase or that term. Right. So we thought we can use it because it has multiple meanings, or it can mean anything to anyone. So we're not just simply tied to Mizzou, but that is how we met. So that's where the name came from, True Sons. But like you said, getting into that space has been it's a new challenge, but it's probably one of the most rewarding challenges that we've ever done because it is so new.
Yeah.
And you kind of get instant feedback.
Yep.
You know how it went. based on how people say it went when you put it out.
And they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you if they like it, if they don't like it, what you doing. Oh, this is just another podcast. Mm-hmm. People have a lot of opinions, but that's what it's there for.
That is what it's there for. And we're open to those opinions. And sometimes we use them.
Exactly.
To make it better. Sometimes we look at it and say, no, I don't care what you say. Right? But so far, because it's still very much so new. It's in its infancy.
Yeah.
And luckily enough, the feedback has been awesome. Now, most of the stories that we're talking about on season 1 are catered towards University of Missouri.
Okay.
So
y'all have a lot of people y'all knew or went to school with that's like, let me see what they talking about.
Exactly. So you have that element, and you also have an element of people who were at the school the same time we were there, experienced kind of the football aspect of us being there, but they don't know the person.
Yeah.
So I think our ultimate goal for that podcast is to make people who sometimes can become superhuman or above the world, make them really human.
Exactly.
This person has struggles. This person goes through this. This person's a father.
Yep.
But they were also an NFL football player.
I'm really glad you said that because when we work with our brands, I mean, we have shows. We do podcasting. We have a podcast network. So we have plenty of shows on there. But we also use podcasting with the brands that we work with. So it's like when I tell them you should podcast for certain people, especially older generation, they're like, I should what?
Do what?
What is that? You know, and I'm like, podcasting is just another way to storytell and connect with your community so they can see who you are. Yeah. Because it was even a transition for me. And I've probably at this point produced over like 300 or 400 podcasts by now. But it was still a transition. Yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm. But it was still a transition because I'm a person that's in the background. You know, I'm a behind the scenes. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to make sure everybody's straight, but I'm not supposed to be in front of the camera. And then I got to the point where I would talk to people and I would try to give them advice or share things with them. And they'd be like, who are you? Like, how can you tell, you know, like, what's your experience? And I'm like, you know what? I have to practice what I preach. Just like I tell brands, people not going to know. After the pandemic, people want to know who you are. You can spend your money with anybody, but people are more want to know, who is this person? Can I connect with this person? And that's just what podcasting does. Yeah,
it does. And it's been that way for us. Like I would say, I thought that same thing about myself. I'm probably more of a behind the camera kind of person.
Yeah.
Now, shout out to you because you make it look good. Even though I feel like you shouldn't. Yeah, don't say, you know, you're doing it very well. But until I got in front of the camera and then you, like we said, that instant feedback, somebody's telling you, hey, man, that's a really good story.
Yeah.
And you don't even think of yourself as a good storyteller until people start telling you tell stories really well.
Yeah.
So now I look forward to telling the story, right? And that's kind of, it's unlocked something new in me. I never thought I even want to be on TV, but even now I think, oh, maybe I could be on ESPN and interview somebody. I could do that too.
Yeah,
you know even though I don't think that's my calling, but this is just another outlet for expression for us.
For sure.
It's an outlet for connection for us because we all live in different states. So to come together, even if it's for a day or 2 days, and we catch up as if we were sitting in a college dorm room.
Wow.
That's been extremely fun.
Yeah, I can only imagine what that experience is like, definitely. So tell me, I asked you this earlier before we started recording, but tell me, like, okay, you've accomplished all these things. You have your beautiful family. What now?
What now? Yeah. What you mentioned earlier was a 5-year goal.
Yep.
And I'm glad you even asked because oftentimes you need to make it a goal in order to attain it. Sometimes if you don't say, oh, this is what I want in 5 years or give a timeline, we call them attainable goals that you can time and say, by this time I want to have this. I wouldn't have even put it a goal. I had things I'm working on, but I wouldn't have said, oh, by 5 years I want to have it.
Yeah.
So in 5 years, I would love to be, like we're already in the restaurant space. I love to be in the logistics space in some form or fashion, and then also in the real estate space. That's the 5-year goal to diversify in that way, and we can also build something for our children that
generational wealth
necessarily built for us. Yeah,
I love that. You know, you talked about obtainable goals. I always talk about strategic planning. That's exactly what it is. It's just basically putting out what your goals are, and how you're going to get there. Yeah. Because for me, it's really been beneficial for me because I'll write out everything. I journal every morning. I have to go through a process to be able to come in here and do what I do every day. Yeah. I have to, be able to take care of self. I'm sure you can relate to that. So I do a lot of journaling. I write things down. And what I recognized about 6 months ago, I was going through my old journals. and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, check.
I'm doing it.
I'm doing this,
Yeah.
right? Like, it just really blew my mind. So I always tell people, man, set a goal. Even if you don't make it, at least you have something that you're working towards, you know?
Exactly. And that's something I need to do better of. And like you said, what's your 5-year plan? I was like, oh, wow. I need to start.
Like, I'm just living day by day. It's feeling good.
I'm moving in the right direction, but I don't have a destination.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think one day I want to have this. How do I get there? I should write that out.
Yeah.
So that's a nugget I'm going to try to take from you and maybe put that on paper.
I love that.
You know, look back on my journal one day and say, oh, I did it.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm killing it. I told my kids, hey, if anything happened to me, go get my journals. Those are $1 million journals, okay?
It's there, yeah.
It's there. The playbook is already there. Just run the play.
Read it and do it.
For sure.
You'll be all right, yeah.
For sure. So before I close out, okay. I do want to just thank you, Kevin, for coming by and having this conversation, because I think it is very transparent, and it's something that people need to hear. You know, the internet is full of all types of content. Yeah. And one thing that I really take a lot of pride in is building this network, because we're able to build content that can really change lives. You know what I'm saying? Because content ain't going nowhere. No, like I tell my kids, I understand it's not going anywhere, and it's just going to get crazier and crazier as far as how people are able to obtain content. Mm-hmm. So I make it a point to produce positive content or influential or impactful content. So thank you for this interview.
Thank you.
So tell me, and if you'll look in the camera and give us this, for anybody out there, a young boy that wants to go to the NFL, or maybe a couple or a family that wants to stop doing what they're doing and start their own business, what would be your advice to them?
Wow. So I'll start with the first question. A young man who wants to go to the NFL, who is, let's say they're in high school and they have the dream, and that dream is looking like it's going to be real. Like colleges are recruiting you. I would say to never waste a moment, because especially in sports, the moments are so fast. They happen quickly. You can be, on the mountaintop one day, and on the next day you're at the bottom. You're trying to climb back up that mountaintop. So for any young athlete who wants to pursue their sport professionally, enjoy every moment and make it count, because you don't know when it's your last moment. For the husband and wife or couple who is looking to make a difference or change the trajectory of their marriage, change the trajectory of their lives and their families' lives, I would say lean on each other. Yeah. One of the biggest things I realized with my wife is what I am sitting on. Like, I'm sitting on a gold mine as far as a wealth of information. And it wasn't until I had to ask her for help with one thing, and I think it might have been my transition. I needed help with my resume. And I said, hey, can you look at this for me? And when I got it back, I didn't recognize who was on that paper. Yeah. So I would say for couples, lean on each other. You got together because you saw something in that person. Yep. Don't spend the rest of your lives not tapping into what you saw in that person.
For sure. Yeah. Man, that was great advice.
Thank you.
I can't say anything after that, because that was a great way to end it. And I want to thank all of y'all for tuning in for another episode of CCGO with Jasmine J. Peace.